Hi there, I'm Nicholas and you're watching The Hot Topic. This week we'll be looking at the Chinese economy. Are we finally seeing some glimpses of stability? As the second largest global economy, China has a large impact on the rest of the world's economies. Beijing has made numerous attempts to stabilize the economy and we could be seeing some very early signs of stabilization. However, the Chinese stock markets had a mixed performance during last week's trading session. The FTSE China 50 posted mild increases during most of the week, but during Thursday there were losses of 2.7%, which limited the weekly performance. The index eventually ended with weekly losses by 0.7%. Let's take a closer look at recent data out of China. The Chinese economy grew during this year's first quarter by 6.7%, which is marginally lower than the first quarter of 2015 performance of 6.8%. Each year, after the end of the Chinese New Year holiday celebrations in February, local production of goods resumes, and this in turn boosts spending in the economy. Production data are still not pointing to a solid recovery. However, industrial profit margins have shown an increase in March by 6% compared to a 5.4% increase for the first 2 months of the year. Investment in physical assets such as real estate, machinery and technology also soared by 10.4%. Chinese policymakers are working to amend a number of tax rules to reduce the business sector's liability towards the government. Other legislation changes will enable firms to increase their amount of leverage and therefore raise capital for new projects. Meanwhile, the Chinese CPI, which is a measure of the nation's inflation level, increased during the last 12 months until March by 2.5%. This is a noteworthy improvement from the previous month's increase of 2.3% and the fourth consecutive month in a row of inflation growth. So what does this mean for the rest of the world? Even the slightest likelihood of the world's second largest economy to return to solid growth could be good news for the rest of the financial markets. With all this positive news for the Chinese economy, would you go long on the CNX or choose a wait-and-see approach? Comment below and let us know. I'm Nicholas and you've been watching The Hot Topic.